Thank you for coming. This is the kickoff of the ENR Task Force on Local Climate Action. As you know, this task force comes from a report that we at ADENE led last year, because we, as let's say, stakeholders in Portugal supporting local authorities, felt that we could use a bit more of international collaboration, look at the experiences that other countries are having and how they are dealing with the challenges, which are probably common. And so we started this report, and in fact, we came to the conclusion that a lot of the problems, the bottlenecks, and the challenges are common between us and other ENR agencies that in fact are providing some support to different levels in different countries, but that we share a lot of challenges. So I think that it would be very useful if we could better collaborate, and this first series of sessions will promote this first contact with the reality in each country. We can, of course, discuss individually which one, but then in September and October we will probably be reflecting a bit more deeply into these connections that can be made, whether it is developing training, developing tools, or providing a platform for different local authorities to actually meet between their challenges and organizing a bit of peer-to-peer learning between them. We'll see. It will probably come as a very clear conclusion from these meetings. So today what we'll do is present the experiences from ourselves at ADENE Portugal, ENEA in Italy, and the Lithuanian Energy Agency for Lithuania. If you didn't receive an invitation to speak at one of these sessions and you do want to present, please let us know and we'll fit your agency into one of the slots. Our rationale was to contact the agencies that answered the survey that we did last year. So if you didn't, but you still want to participate and present, please let us know. So I think that to kick off the presentations, the chairs, ourselves at ADENE and ENEA, will start, let's say, to break the ice and to start this. So I think that we can start with Portugal. Okay. I'm, as you know, Sofia Cordeiro. I'm at ADENE, the Portuguese Energy Agency. I coordinate the efforts that are developing local climate action, which is mostly related with support related to our role as national coordinators of the Covenant of Mayors in Portugal. But there are a number of other areas in which ADENE has national responsibilities and that have a deep connection, let's say, with the role that cities can play in fighting climate change and both in mitigation and adaptation. And also, of course, in energy poverty, which is currently the third pillar in the Covenant of Mayors and a high priority topic for all countries. So just to give you a little bit of background, in Portugal, there are no regions, but there are, of course, administrative divisions. In fact, there are two regions, which are the islands. The Madeira and the Azores Islands are autonomous regions, but in continental Portugal, there are no regions. The country is very small, but very diverse. There are 5 administrative committees that are called Regional Development Coordination Committees that run a lot of the funding and that are also responsible for regional climate action plans. Then there are 21 sub-regional units, let's say, which are groups of municipalities, associations of municipalities, in fact, and 2 metropolitan areas. And there are 308 municipalities, and then 3,092 subunits of these municipalities, which we call parishes or neighborhoods. But these are also autonomous administratively and financially, but they have little to no, let's say, they have a lot of the competencies in the territory are from the municipality. Municipalities are they are autonomous administratively, financially, but they have little to no decision in most of the national energy and climate plans, strategies, etc. They are consulted, but they do not have, they have stakes in it, of course, because they have to implement the measures that are needed to reach the goals that are established in those national strategies, but they do not, there is not a lot of active participation, let's say. So there are a few strategies and roadmaps defined in Portugal, both for adaptation, for mitigation, and also air quality. And currently, after the climate law was published, there is a climate action committee which is now being formed, which will be let's say a monitoring, a progress monitoring structure, and a consulting structure also for the government. But for local action, the municipalities so far until now, they were mostly developing under the Covenant of Mayors their sustainable energy and action and climate action plans. But now, after the publication of the climate law, the municipal climate action plans became mandatory, and many of the municipalities are, let's say, converting or adapting, evolving their SECAPs into the municipal climate action plans. Also, in the climate law, the sustainable urban mobility plans are now mandatory. And so these two were, let's say, formally created by this climate law that was published in 2021, but also previous instruments like the municipal master plans or intermunicipal master plans were already in place that had many of the many provisions and many of the structural, let's say, issues that targeted climate action, such as land use definitions, etc. So climate action support in Portugal, let's say that there are many initiatives. Some would say too many. Because cities have a problem dealing with this. There are many projects running in parallel. There is no coordination between them. For instance, there is no, let's say, now very recently, or I think it's starting the June 5th, the Energy Poverty Advisory Hub just created a working group for all the European funded projects, and in fact, all the projects running that are targeting energy poverty in some way from all the calls. This is quite important, and it doesn't exist for other topics. And I think that, for instance, projects that have Portuguese partners could maybe come together for such a working group. This is an example from yesterday, but I think probably many of you will connect with this example. So many projects running in parallel, no particular connection or work between them. There are programs, of course, at European and national level that provide support. But again, they do it according to a specific topic, and they don't connect, although many times there is an overlap in the topics that are treated in each one of these programs. When by these programs, I mean the Covenant of Mayors, Net Zero City, the EU missions, and the Driving Urban Transitions, URBACT. Many of these have a lot of topics that can be common and that could be, let's say, better coordinated or work in cooperation, because they would be more efficient. There is support from all of several levels of government and several paths, several centers, let's say, in society. So central public administration, of course, the different ministries provide support at times and for different topics. These regional development coordination committees also, they provide some also training, and they are also responsible for funding many of the activities. Of course, academia with the research projects mostly, but also with they are also sometimes the cities and municipalities hire academic partners to work on their plans as well. And then, of course, European initiatives and other projects that are also providing support. And this can be training, it can be tools, support in monitoring, tailored assistance and consulting, let's say, also citizen participatory methods and projects, development of communities of practice, pilot projects, study visits. A lot of support is there. And actually, as I said in the beginning, too much maybe, because cities have a problem navigating all of these initiatives to find out which one is better suited for their needs or for their challenges. So it's dispersed and it's also uncoordinated. We tried to map the situation in Portugal. So as you see, we have a lot of European initiatives and a lot of national counterparts for these initiatives. So for instance, URBACT, it's the Territory Directorate General, but then Net Zero Cities, there's a university that is a secretariat that does the secretariat and created a network. For the Covenant of Mayors, it's ADENE. Then, for instance, Driving Urban Transitions, it's the national foundation that runs the research project funding. Then a lot of academic projects from different universities. There are also city networks that working more better or worse, let's say, with more or less efficiency, but there are city networks that are running, and also local energy agencies that have a national association. They are also very active and actually quite trusted partners for us as the National Energy Agency. We work a lot with the network of local energy agencies and also directly with the local energy agencies. Then the regional development coordination committees, that there are 5. But mostly they are running funding, and we don't collaborate so much with them so far. Hopefully we can change this in the future. And we are trying to engage all of these stakeholders to work together, and so far it's been very interesting, because a lot of common points come up, and some deeper collaboration has come up also. So as I said, we are coordinators of the Covenant of Mayors in Portugal. There are, from the 308 municipalities, 178 are signatories. But as I'll show you in a minute, this might mean different things for different municipalities. The level of participation is not the same, and also not the same throughout time. There are 6 territorial coordinators, which are mostly the intermunicipal associations or communities. And there are 11 supporters, which are mostly energy agencies and also the city associations. But the status of the commitments does not allow for a very, let's say, a very bright or outlook on what's going on. Because in the beginning, when the Covenant of Mayors came from the fusion of the Mayors Adapt with the new mitigation, with the covenant, with the first covenant. So when this fusion came about, a lot of cities, there was a lot of political commitment with the covenant, and it was when most municipalities joined and signed the commitments and developed also their plans. But after that, when the commitment was renewed with new targets for 2030 and with a higher ambition in reduction of the greenhouse gas emissions, only 50 municipalities joined or renewed their commitments, because many also were new. So 25 were new, and 25 were already coming from the previous batch. And in 2021, even less. So only 22 municipalities have signed to the new commitments of the Covenant of Mayors, and only 22 SECAPs were developed. So there was no push, and we believe that this was because the municipalities were also, again, if there wasn't a national coordination, if there wasn't a push for this, it didn't it didn't take with municipalities because, again, they are very highly, there's a lot of demand of their participation in different areas. But also, of course, this is always updating, and there's always new municipalities coming in, and we think that this will change in time, and I'll let you know why. Most of the
Sofia,
cities,
may I
yeah,
ask?
sure.
Can you go back to the previous slide? Yeah, this one. Do I understand correctly that the first initial 137 municipalities and the subsequent ones, the 50 in 2017, they are not additional ones. Those are from the same number of the first ones from the 137 who renewed their commitment.
25
not
are
additional new ones
no,
who
no,
joined.
it's only 25 new ones. Only 25 new ones.
Okay.
So it didn't create a new wave of joining. But maybe this changes in the future, and I'll show you a graph that shows how many joined, how many had plans, and how many monitored their emissions after that. So most of the signatories are large cities, because again, it comes back to capacity. They have the people, they have the staff, they can join these initiatives. Small cities, which need most help, they are not able to join because they are short-staffed and they are not able to. And a long time, again, this is the graph I was telling you about Tadas. As you see, new signatories, they were mostly in 2010, 2014, and then it dropped. A lot of the plans were done between 2011 and 2016, but then no more plans came up. So not all of them made their plans. And the monitoring is very, very low. So only a few cities do monitoring each year, providing new information on how they're progressing in their plans. So this needs support probably. And as I said, and as you could tell from the number of signatories in the different targets, most of the municipalities, this is size of the population. Well, cities divided by size of population brackets, but then the size of the circles is the population number, and as you can see, most of the cities that, or most of the population is covered in cities that have low targets or still outdated targets from 2020. And only the large cities are able to have the 2030 targets. Again, this comes back to short staffing and to issues with the capacity to join these initiatives. So there are some opportunities currently for municipalities. For one, most municipalities already have some strategies or plans for mitigation and adaptation, but many are outdated, so they are not responding to the new targets in both at national and European level. But the climate law established the need to implement these municipal action plans, and the Environment Agency defined guidelines that recognize the Covenant of Mayors as a reference framework that they can follow for their municipal climate action plans. And so they have the opportunity to harmonize their plans, so to join these mitigation and adaptation strategies and to harmonize them with a single instrument. And that will also allow for more collaboration and dialogue, because it will be easier to get a read on what's happening. So what we did was we consulted all the stakeholders in the country, and we found that the main challenges and constraints were, of course, and this is no news for you, probably the same in your country, lack of qualified human resources at the municipal level, lack of financial resources, of course. And then also there was an absence up until the beginning of the last year. There were no guidelines for the municipal action plans before the Covenant of Mayors was recognized as a framework. So they were doing the plans for 3 years without any guidelines. And there was, of course, a lot of difficulty, of course, in obtaining data, and they were unsure of the data sources that they should use and how they could have good information to base their projections and their plans on. And they also, there is a common a common complaint, let's say, from the local level, that they are not sufficiently heard when designing the national energy and climate plans. And so there is no connection between what is currently in the National Energy and Climate Plan and their own municipal objectives. So we don't know if these match, because no one took the time or to actually make a match between what's being committed at the local level and what's being done at the national level. So the solution is, of course, providing support for capacity building, knowledge sharing, collaboration, and planning. We devised an action plan for this. So we started. So the in black you have past or current actions, and in blue you have future actions. So for training, we started with a series of online, very light and short webinars on several topics, and we are also now running in-person workshops to discuss the biggest challenges and to get a more one-to-one discussion and input. And in the future, we hope to have to start running formal training that we can provide to municipal staff for them to have, let's say, a deeper expertise in climate action planning, monitoring, and implementing projects. And we also collaborated with several organizations, one with the university that is running the Secretariat for the National Platform in Net Zero Cities, which has developed a network which is called Cities for Climate. And they developed an emissions inventory tool to support cities in their monitoring. And we are also working with another research national laboratory to provide in the Observatory for Energy, which is an ADENE project, to provide information not only at the municipal level, but also for the citizen to have more information on their own territory, on their own city. Then we run events and dissemination of information, communications. And we are also trying to promote more national and international synergies. One of them is our task force to get to know what is being done so that we can replicate the good examples and also promote bigger collaboration in a number of topics, namely tool development or training and others. We also would like to run a survey directly to municipalities to inquire about their progress and to learn what is being done with the municipal climate action plans, and to foster more peer-to-peer opportunities, because learning peer-to-peer is much better, because many times we get the feedback that on the ground, the reality and the implementation is different than in theory. So they need practical examples of who has already done that or who has already run that program or that initiative successfully or unsuccessfully, and what problems came. And of course, we would like to widen support and probably get some funding also directly to municipalities, but also to provide more technical support and also training and capacity building. ADENE has a number of programs that connect with this. One, we manage the Public Administration Energy and Resource Efficiency Program that municipalities now have to comply with and create efficiency plans for their own assets, so their buildings, their fleets. And so through this, of course, we contribute also to local climate action. We also provide some support, namely developing guidelines to promoting renewable energy communities or self-consumption. We provide examples of minutes for the statutes of the organizations that need to be established, or contracts and that kind of legal documentation that is required, and that we provide minutes so that the municipalities don't have to start from scratch. And also we are running and promoting and creating a more dynamic network of the one-stop shops that are in the country for energy efficiency. with the main effort would be to mitigate energy poverty through this direct one-stop shop support. We run a national network, and we provide the back office and the scheduling and technical support, more detailed or more specific technical support. So in 2024, we were able to reach a large number of participants with our activities. More than 900 technical individual staff from municipalities joined in our webinars, in our events. We also participated in a number of national and international events to share our experience. We tried to create this network of stakeholders with whom we collaborate. We ran 12 webinars on different topics that we make available as for autonomous learning. And in 2025, we would like to deepen this experience, but mostly work on peer-to-peer learning, the formal training for municipal staff, and also more collaboration internationally. For example, with the EU Energy Behavior Forum that several ENR agencies are involved with, but it's a contract for the European Commission to create tools to guide on for municipalities to work on boosting energy efficient behaviors, and then working with ENR to bring climate action to the agenda of national energy agencies, and of course continue organizing our national meetings. So our main challenges for discussion today are: how do we better coordinate with and between these different initiatives and projects? Should we do like the Energy Poverty Advisory Hub and organize a working group for all these projects to meet? Also, an idea that has been developing now when we were reflecting on the EU agenda for cities that the European Commission launched the public consultation on. And we answered also in collaboration with several colleagues from Covenant of Mayors, the idea of a national one-stop shop for local and regional authority support. So municipalities shouldn't have to navigate all these initiatives. There should be a common platform that brings them together in a one-stop shop that provides this support to municipalities. So this could be an idea of how these initiatives could come together and work. Also, how do we simplify reporting? Because this is another of the burdens that municipalities complain about. Reporting is a heavy burden, administrative burden on them, and since they are short-staffed, this is an issue. And how do we advocate for specific funding to provide tailored consulting? Because many are similar in size. They might be similar in their territorial constraints, like coastal cities, interior mountain cities, but they are also quite different culturally and from the point of view demographically. And so they should have more personalized support. And this could be done through the local energy agencies. This could be done by intermunicipal communities, but it has to be done, because most of the times what they are doing right now when they need to have a new plan is to hire a consultant for 3 months, develop the plan, but then the knowledge is not internalized in the city. And so they are not able then to implement as well as they should, or they become dependent on a consultant. So these are our main challenges that we'd like to discuss with you today. So the team at ADENE is quite small, although we count on the collaboration of colleagues in all the different directions and areas of ADENE. But the team is myself and our director, Luis, and also Maria, my colleague, who is also here today. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to questions.
Oh, thank you for your presentation. It was, well, overwhelming at some point or another, at least for me. Can I clarify just one thing?
Sure.
The ADENE, the agency, is your group, I don't know, one of several in this agency, or is how to say this? How many people or how much of your work is related with communicating and collaborating with municipalities in all these initiatives and projects?
So ADENE is a medium-sized agency. We are 150 people, and directly working on this, and also not entirely full-time. As I said, it's myself and Maria mostly, and of course our director, but it's a small unit. But then so we have industry and ecological transition unit, sustainability and mobility unit, and strategy and partnerships and projects unit, and I think and of course the training. We have an academy for training and information provision to the public. So out of all of these, there might be maybe 2, 3 in each that collaborate with us. So I would say total in ADENE, maybe we engage about maybe 20 people. But this is 20 people at maybe 10% of their time, not even that. But of course, in a number of topics, there is collaboration with municipalities. We are just, when we created this new area of local climate action, it didn't exist until last year in ADENE. So everybody was doing it more or less on their own through the projects or through the spontaneous collaborations that arise with one city, with one region. So we are trying to create a more harmonized and a more at least with more communication between us to get to know what is being done with all the municipalities. But it's a very small team. That's why also we are not able to, for instance, run a large training program, a national training. So far, we are not able to run this program. We hope to be, and we want to work for it, but we are not able to do this. At the same time, I think that this also provides a bit more spontaneity. When a municipality needs support, they send an email to let's say, to the energy communities team, and they might get direct support. But then that support is not reused or replicated for others. Yeah. So we want to, with a small team, what we can do is capitalize on this and make it more efficient, make it available for all.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Thank you, Sofia. Very interesting also from my side, very impressive. Just a question, do you have just one office or do you have offices widespread in Portugal? Just to understand how it is possible, yes, to get in.
So Portugal is quite small compared to other European countries, and so we only have one office at ADENE, which is in Lisbon. But we do count on the support and collaboration, which is quite constant and active, with the local energy agencies. Local energy agencies are private associations that are created by municipalities. Usually the participants in these associations are mostly municipalities, but also utilities, especially large utilities related to sanitation or local energy, things like this. But these local energy agencies, they are for us a very important partner to be on the ground. The problem is they don't cover 100% of the territory. And they do not, let's put it they do not run with the same standards, let's say. Some are very active, very professional, very highly skilled. Others they have no staff. They didn't invest in the, let's say, economic sustainability of the agency. So they don't have any, they don't find any funding through projects or and they rely on a little bit of money from each municipality, and they are not able to run a proper local energy agency. So this creates a cohesion problem. So we don't have the same kind of support being provided to different areas of the country. And in some areas of the country, there simply is no local agency. But what we are trying to do is trying to activate the territorial coordinators of the Covenant of Mayors, which are intermunicipal communities, because these always exist. They have specific competencies, and they should, when there is no local energy agency, they should take up this kind of work. It's difficult because it depends on the people there. It depends on their willingness to collaborate. And most of the times, if we don't have funding, and they won't find it, so we would need to find it for them. So it's not easy. But since we are a small country, what we're trying to do is also ourselves cover a bit of the country that is not covered by any partner.
Okay, thank you so much, Sofia. And I don't know if also now you were discussing about that the people makes the difference, no, in municipalities, and I totally agree. I'd like to know if you also, because in Italy we observe that when the SECAP is developed by that one obstacle could be also that the Covenant of Mayors is of mayors, and then is very strictly related to politics. And when the mayor change, for example, all the works done disappear. So this doesn't give a continuity to the plans. I don't know if you feel the same in your country.
Well, so far we've we'll have municipal elections this fall. Maybe the situation will, well, probably the situation will change. So far, regardless of the ruling mayor or party, environment and energy issues have been quite peaceful, let's say. So most of, even when mayors change, political parties change, they have continued the work that was being done. So this is like, let's say, center-right, center-left mayors. They are in agreement, and usually the climate action plans are approved unanimously. Now with the emergence of right-wing more populist parties that are that have that oppose climate action planning, and especially when it comes to preventing some things from happening because of climate action planning, and or cutting areas that they feel that shouldn't be limited by climate action planning. So these when this happens, and I think that this fall this will happen. So there will be there was already in these legislative elections that we had for the national parliament now this month. And I think that in September, October, when we have the municipal elections, this will change. But so far we've seen this. Let's see what happens, because also this doesn't happen from one day to the next. Maybe it's slow enough that we can start all the projects that are important, because most of the goals for 2030 are projects that have already started, of course. So if this happens, maybe the effect will not be so large. But this is a risk that I know that Portugal is coming a bit late into, but we are arriving there, unfortunately. Okay, so maybe we can move on, let's say, to Italy now, which is a very aspirational presentation for me, because I quite enjoy the work that is being done and have been inspiring myself in it for a long time. So Francesca, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Sofia. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. For me, it's the first time in ENR. So I'm very happy, and thank you for this initiative, Sofia. I feel it's very, very interesting also for us, and now I'm going to explain better why for my laboratory. So at first, just okay, so I'm going to explain you a little bit which is what is ENEA, because it's not just not only an energy agency, the National Energy Agency, and then to give you an overview of the national framework for local energy policies in Italy, with a focus on the Italian Covenant of Mayors framework and some conclusions from my side. ENEA is a research center, a public research center. We are 2,300 researchers, technologists, and administrative staff. The topic is new technologies, energy, and sustainable economic development. We were born when in Italy we had nuclear energy, and this is our origin, so studying nuclear energy. We have 13 research centers and large laboratories where we have a lot of experimental tests set up all over Italy. We also have 17 bureaux in Italy, hosted by local public bodies, like the National Research Center in Italy, or regions, municipalities, and so on. And then we have the headquarters in Rome, but we also have a bureau in Brussels to link with the European Commission and all the European initiatives. Our mission is to promote the growth and increase the competitiveness of business sector, public administration, and society. So it's a very 360 degrees, target of people and of activities. We are organized in 7 areas. We have 4 departments, the energy technologies and renewable energy source, the nuclear fusion department, the sustainability department for the circular economy, sustainable development, environment, climate changing, and so on. We have the energy efficiency department, which is my department, and which is committed to be the National Energy Agency. So the first consideration is that our national agency, so our department, is particularly devoted to the energy efficiency, not to renewable energies, because we have another department involved in this topic, but they are not the National Energy Agency. So this is something like a tricky for us. We know that the colleagues support public administrations in a specific topic like energy communities, lighting, all around the renewable energy sources, but they are not the National Energy Agency. So this just to focus what we can do like energy efficiency agency. Then we have a technology transfer, innovation development. We also manage the research, the Italian research program in Antarctica. We manage the station of Zucchelli, the Zucchelli station. And then we have a radio protection due to our past in nuclear, but also the present energy. Our areas, let's say, of excellence of our energy agency, we make studies and researchers, and our actions involve the energy efficiency in buildings, in industry, in public administrations at all levels, national level, regional, and municipality levels. And we are also engaged by the ministry, because we are under the Ministry of Environment and Energy Security, to develop the information campaign, a national information campaign for energy efficiency. Okay. Our department, so the National Energy Agency, is divided in two other divisions. We call it divisions, two areas. One more devoted to the research, to European directives to support the ministry for the transposition of the directives EED and EPBD. Also, we have one lab totally devoted to the energy efficiency in industry. So we manage the energy audits mandatory for the big industries and enterprises. And then our division, which is the head is Alessandro Federici, that you probably know quite well, which is dedicated to the tool analysis and initiatives for energy efficiency policies, in particular for local public administration. So now we arrive to my laboratory, analysis and planning of local territory. We are the national coordinator of the Covenant of Mayors in Italy. We give technical support for the development of regional energy plans. Then we are going to go more deep in these main activities. We also develop innovative tools for local public administrations by life projects and also some national projects. In particular, we have since 2020, we work with the metropolitan city of Milan, where I have my office, for the development of the one-stop shop, which is called Decivat, for building energy renovation, to promote building energy renovation. And then we also make trainings for local public administrations. Okay. Oops, sorry. Sorry, I take the time because I forgot to take it. How is the national framework in Italy for the local energy policies? We start from a national level. We have from the Green Deal, the Integrated Energy and Climate Plan, and from the 2030 Agenda and SDG goals, the National Strategy of Sustainable Development. Then we have the regional level. In Italy, we have 20 regions, and they are competence authority for energy, but they have to take into account, of course, the national level. Then they can be more restricted for requirements and regulation, but they have to transpose, in a sense, what the national plan asks to the region. The regional level is regulated by a regional energy and environment plan, and each region is provided with a regional strategy of sustainable development coming from the national one. At municipal level, there's no, let's say, no mandatory policies in terms of energy saving and energy strategy and so on. Yes, we have also in Italy is mandatory the SUMP, so the mobility strategy, the sustainable mobility strategy. But the framework is that at the municipality level, the tool, the possible policy are the Metropolitan Agendas 2030 coming from the National Strategy and the Regional Strategy of Sustainable Development, and the Sustainable Energy Climate Action Plans that we know are not mandatory but voluntary. Then I reported here a very important framework that we had in these last years, which is the National Resilience Plan coming from the Repower EU initiative program. This is very important for the fundings that the municipalities received in these last years for the sustainable development and the energy transition and the ecological transition. So, but this is something, you know, like a peak, and then let's see what happens when it finishes. Okay. So what happens at regional level? As I told you, we have these regional energy plans. In this map, I show the regions who is provided with a plan with a target on to 2030. And in red, the one which is still with a target on 2020. So now it's 2025. We know that some of these regions are ongoing the revision of the old energy plan, but the situation is that. Then we have the regions provided with the regional strategy of sustainable development. All the regions is provided with this type of strategy. All the regions has published their strategy in this framework of year from 2020 to 2024. And this is, I think it is really thanks to the strong effort that the Ministry of Environment and Energy Security dedicated to this activity, because in these years they decided in the framework of the Sustainable Development Strategy to collaborate directly with each region by grant agreements and to fund also some the development and some kind also the implementation of the strategy. Okay. Which is the role of ENEA in the regional energy plans. At first, some indications. These plans are mandatory since 1991 in Italy. The regions are the competence authority, as I told you before, for environment and energy issues. And this plan has to define the regional energy strategy to meet the European and national decarbonization target. So they are composed by a very well-known framework of the national situation from the energy point of view, and also environment, if is the case, because not all the regions publish a plan which contain energy, is mandatory, but they also can integrate it with environment, but not all do it. This plan is a guidance to address the economic and social development of the local public administration, enterprises, and citizens. So we suppose that at the municipal level, the SECAP, for example, are strictly linked to the regional energy plans because it's a regional address. The duration of these plans are 5 years, and it's very suggested for monitoring each 1 or 2 years, but not all the regions are uniform, let's say, and homogeneous in this issue. Italy, ENEA edited some regional plans directly with the direct collaboration with the regions. In some other case, we contribute in particular with the analysis of the building stock of the region, because we have a lot of data of the building stock. We manage the National Energy Performance Certificates of Building register. So we have a lot of data, of course, and we are very skilled for this kind of analysis. Then we also support the region for the monitoring of their action included in their regional plan. But in some region, we don't have any role like the one in green. So the contact with the regions for us is the best, because we have 20 regions, and in our department we are more or less 150, as you, Sofia, in ADENE. So of course the contact with the region for us is the best, because it's our sources, human sources, are better dimensioned with this kind of support. Okay, then for the local level, we have different level. We have 14 metropolitan cities. All of them are provided with the Metropolitan Agenda 2030. Also, in that time, thanks to this very important effort from the ministry, who collaborate directly with these metropolitan cities, like for regions, by grant agreements, specific grant agreements. And then we have in Italy, 9 cities of the 100 cities of the net zero cities are in net zero cities. Okay. In that case, let's see, I show you further which is the involvement of ENEA for this issue, because we are not so involved. So let's do a focus for the SECAPs, because ENEA is the national coordinator of SECAP. Italy has a very huge number of signatories for the COM. We are the 33% of all the municipalities. In Italy, we have more or less 7,000 of municipalities. But the major part are very, very small, with a population under 5,000 of people. We also have a quite good governance, 73 supporters and coordinators. And among the 5,000 signatories, we have less than 4,000 of SECAP published. I say SECAP, but is plans, action plans. Then we have a 9% with the target 2030, and the other 91% with the target to 2020. Here is we make periodically extraction of data coming from the JRC database to monitor the state of the art of the signatories and SECAPs, and monitoring during the year. It's very interesting to see, as for Portugal, the number of monitored SECAP is very, very low. So we have 33% of the all published SECAPs. So the problem is the same, and the obstacles are the same that you mentioned, Sofia. Nothing different also from Italy. Okay, this is we think that it could be called a good practice. We have a national coordination board of Covenant of Mayors in Italy. This board is composed by ENEA, by Climate Alliance in terms of their role in the COM European office, the COM European COM, sorry. Then we have ISPRA, which is our research center specific on environment and climate changing. And we have, again, the network RENAIL, which is a network of local energy agency in Italy. Our main mission is to share good practices and experiences, because each of us has in their, let's say, routine work, we promote SECAPs, in particular ENEA and the RENAIL. We also aim to enforce the multi-level governance process between regional and local authorities, but also with the national ministry, because this is something quite not strong, that at the national level, the ministry doesn't understand very well the importance of SECAPs, in particular in Italy, where we don't have any mandatory local policies for the ecological and energy transition. Yes, since this year, we also have a link with the Italian representative of Net Zero Cities to go deep and understand which are the links and the possible connection between the two tools, so the SECAPs and the climate city contracts. So we are studying the main differences, the main connection. This in particular to see what happens when the climate city contracts will be suggested for all the cities and not just for the net zero cities. We will have a meeting, a workshop, the 11th of June, organized by Net Zero Cities, but in collaboration with our National Coordination Board, to highlight to the ministry what we are working on and which can be the connection between the two instruments. Then we try also to develop tools. In particular, we developed this tool for SECAP promotion. It's a web tool addressed to municipalities to provide the data for the emission inventory, for the based emission inventory, to evaluate best practices for SECAP actions. This tool has been designed when in 2019, so we need to make further upgrades to the tool, for example, to include the adaptation pillar, the energy poverty pillar, and we want to strengthen the monitoring functionalities. Well, among these, ENEA support regions also for the technical assistance for regional governance. So we try to help them in their role of local coordinators with some activities. For the Veneto region, for example, we also try to make a feasibility study to implement by a regional level a one-stop shop for SECAP. So particularly addressed to municipality. And then we also make, we have a role of facilitator between regions, the regions who we work with, and the JRC and the tool of JRC, because we have one office in Ispra, where the JRC has one of it's a big research center. So we have a lot of connection with the colleagues from JRC. ENEA has also been committed for the national information campaign by the ministry. We are at the 7th year of this campaign. In particular, we'd like to focus this. We early develop a summer school, and last year we did it for SECAPs, and we organized 41 online sessions for streaming trainings with 15 hours of lessons, for a total of 15 hours of lessons. And we also organized 3 active learning labs in presence in our offices, in 3 our offices in the south, in the center, and in the north of Italy. But I can say that the participation for the in-presence laboratories was not so high as we expected. And here is another obstacle that I see in involving in presence people from municipalities. It's very difficult to have them in this workshop that we organize. With this on streaming lessons, we have 150 more or less students from municipalities, but we have 7,000 of municipalities, so the number is not so high if I think better on that. Then we also have some activities of reporting to support also the local administrations for the data collecting. We make the annual report on energy performance certificates of buildings. For the energy efficiency in general, reporting, for example, some best practices at regional level and also municipal level. And we also published, we manage the financial mechanism for building renovation. And so we published also regional data each year of the number of intervention made. In particular, if the municipality asks to ENEA specific data on building energy renovation for their municipality, we can provide them with some specific tables and data. Then at national level, we published a special edition on the building stock belonged to public administrations. We manage the National EPC Register, and we also manage the National Platform on Building Energy Performance, which is something still under construction. We have published the first section, let's say, of this national platform with the data belonged to ENEA, but the final aim is to collect all the national databases and give all the information as much as possible on the buildings with a special access of each person who owns a building. They can go to our platform, and with their digital identity, they can have the access to all the documents regarding his or her building. And then we worked as ENEA in general in that case on this national funding project by the Cohesion Agency, which is called Energy and Sustainability for Public Administrations, where we developed 41 activities to provide public administrations with the tools, with guidelines for dealing with energy efficiency, renewable energy sources, and CO2 emissions. Then these are the 3 live projects that we are working on, my laboratory. All of them are dedicated to give some support to the municipalities in particular, like understanding the energy efficiency first principle. In that case, we are going to develop some indications on how to apply the principle to the SECAPs. We have a specific case studies with the municipality of Naples. Then we are working on the SIDMICAT tool, which is a tool for multiple benefit analysis, and we are going to see it at regional level with the regional energy plan of Friuli Venezia Giulia region and with the metropolitan city of Milan, in particular around the one-stop shop target they have. And then we are a member of the UPeers community of practice. We are partner of this project to promote the one-stop shop for building energy renovation. In conclusion, what as a national body we can do? We can develop methodologies, we can develop tools, but we cannot work with all the municipalities, of course. If we have the occasion to work with some very big municipalities like Rome, like Milan, we do it. We can do it with, of course, a grant agreement, but also paid by them, because we are not totally public. We have 40% of our incomes that we have to provide by ourselves. The observatory activity, I think it's very, very important for a national agency to promote and to make a better knowledge of the territory. The training and information, which is independent, this is crucial, and the networking. So what we can do is to give some example of networking to understand which are the best stakeholders for this specific topic and try to put them all together and work and connect all the synergy to achieve the final objective. Of course, also our connection with the RENAIL, the energy efficiency, the local energy efficiency network, is quite strict. Because they are who are in strictly contact with the municipalities, but we have the same problem that you, Sofia, told us before. And then what to say, this is my philosophy. So I think that ENEA, we also are a research center. We have to capture the innovation, the directive indications, and to try to make it at local level with methodologies and tools. And once we have developed and tested these methodologies, we have to go ahead and look at other innovation. And it's the private sector, probably the local energy agency, who has to take what we have developed and make a business, let's say, supporting the cities, but with this framework that the national agency have built and designed. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. If any of the colleagues has any questions, I guess we can start. One of the most interesting effects that ENEA support had was this high motivation to create the SECAPs, especially initially, and because you provided this tool that helps them create the SECAP. So they don't start from a blank page, and they all have the same baseline, let's say, and data to have access. But you said that this is for now limited to energy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's for mitigation.
Yeah. So for the mitigation pillar. But if most of the reporting, and they complain many times, municipalities complain many times that the administrative burden of the reporting is mostly on the data for the emissions inventory, which is in fact for the national energy agencies easier to collect. And if you collect for one municipality, you do it for all because you have the national statistics. Did you ever try to facilitate this reporting by, for instance, providing a direct or a file that they can download with the data for My Covenant, or with a direct connection to My Covenant? Did you ever try this?
You mean with the JRC tool database?
Sì.
Sofia,
Yep.
Okay. No, okay, I have to make a dive in this platform because we think that it's a very powerful tool, but it's not something, let's say, usable for everybody. It's like a demonstration from our side. So we try to do this exercise to connect all the national databases. We succeed to do it, but then to transform this tool in something like a software house tool is very long the way. And we are not a software house. So we are a research center, a national agency. We are not we don't have this resources to do that, because that means also maintenance of the tool, and which is very, very, time consuming for us. This was an initiative to promote SECAPs, to make aware that something is possible to do, that the database, and this was very useful because a lot of regions ask us, how did you do that? How can we use this platform? Probably the perspective is to update this platform, but mainly for regions, because regions are the local coordinators, and I think that they are their role is also to make data available for all the cities, for example, in a univoc relation. A region asked us, for example, for the monitoring, why not connecting with the JRC database? We are going to talk with them about this possibility, but we have to think if it's something, that yes, for sure it's possible by an informatic point of view, but we need to talk with the JRC to understand if they are happy to that, because each database, and I also know that for example, they filter a lot of data to enrich their database, because I think that everybody of us know how is the quality of filling in data by users in general. It's terrible. We see also with the energy performance certificates, we have to do a lot of filter because some data are very terrible and not possible to be the real ones.
That was my question, because I think that this is something that we can jointly approach JRC and Covenant of Mayors to try to find out if we can facilitate this, because I think that probably most national energy agencies will have access to the statistical data that they can we know that if we do the analysis for one municipality, we do the analysis for all, it's the same. So if we have this data, and if we can better filter it and treat it and work with it, and then provide it directly to JRC. And this would facilitate for cities to have an overview of their history in terms of emissions, and the progress that they've made, but also to make it easier for them to always have the baseline if they want to evolve their plan or if they want to evolve their strategy. So this is one point of collaboration that we think we should pursue.
Yes, I agree.
Maria has her hand up.
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you, Francesca, for your presentation. It was really interesting. And as Sofia has already said, we think that Italy is a great example in the local climate planning. I just want to clarify one aspect, because you were saying, if I'm not mistaken, that the SECAPs were integrated in the energy and climate national plans. And I didn't understand if it was like, if the objectives are contributing for the objectives of a national level, or if they are made clearly to contribute to these national plans. I don't know if you are understanding.
Okay, no, sorry, Maria, you mean for the climate city contract? No.
No, for the SECAPs or the plans for the municipalities, the plans that they have to do inside of the Covenant of Mayors. If they contribute the objectives that they made in these plans, if they contribute to the NECPs.
To the
national energy and climate plans. The national
energy and climate plans. Okay. Okay. Yes, understand. Yes, what I mean is that because we had an experience for the past, the one published on 2019 of National Energy Climate Plan, we tried to make an exercise and to evaluate, starting from the JRC database, to evaluate the contribution of SECAPs on the national energy savings and ask to the ministry to integrate this part on their national energy plan. But at the end, it was very difficult to make this exercise, and we had very strange data. So it wasn't a good way to make aware the ministry that the SECAPs are important also for the monitoring and for achieving the European targets. So this is what we try to do. And then our initiative is also we also contribute to the writing of the National Energy and Climate Plan and to make aware the ministry about the SECAP, although we didn't manage to collect data and to give this important data. So the only way was that in the National Energy Climate Plan, we managed to have some mentioning of the SECAPs, but not a really integration into the strategy.
Exactly, it's the same in Portugal. We
Yes.
have exactly the same problem, and that's what I really want to clarify. Thank you.
Welcome. We move on to Lithuania. Let's move on to Tadas without further ado.
First of all, I just wrote few notes that I want to share before our meeting. There was a lot of talking about the Covenant of Mayors, and in Lithuania it is almost non-existent. Like it was in Portugal about 10 or 15 years ago. At the very beginning, there was a huge push. And there were about 12 Covenant of Mayors established here in Lithuania, but they stopped right after that. Basically, everyone wanted to get a badge of honor, and then they did more or less nothing. And here in the agency, we every year we try to do the assessment, the ranking of municipalities by a certain set of criteria. And one of those criteria was the Covenant of Mayors. Is the municipality or cities in this municipality participating in the covenant? And we have noticed that in the past 6 years, no changes were in this regard. So no new additions of to the covenants, no new plans developed, no updates on the targets and so on. So we have eliminated altogether this criteria for Covenant of Mayors. The second thing I noticed that from ENEA's presentation, I got the impression that the municipalities or local authorities has a lot of influence and in how to say planning and deciding, creating their sustainable energy action plans, and they are doing that since, if I remember, 1991 or something like that. No, so for a very long time.
Yes, for a very long. No, the 1991 is for the region, which is mandatory, the regional energy plans. Yes.
So in Lithuania, it is also completely different story because a 10 or 15 years ago, when we have transposed our first renewable energy directive in Lithuania, it was set up for the municipalities to develop these sustainable energy action plans. And to basically plan out the territories for the development of solar and wind and so on, to include in the spatial planning process. But they did nothing, more or less, because they said they are lacking the resources, the knowledge, and the financing from the state. So for about 10 years, nothing was done. And a few years ago, with the third iteration of Renewable Energy Directive, it changed. Basically, it became mandatory for every municipality to prepare the renewable energy sources development action plans. So now we get to the start of my presentation about first of all about our agency. We are a small agency compared to other in Europe. We were established in 1993. We are completely financed from the state budget, and we are very closely working with the Ministry of Energy. Right now, there are about 110 employees, but most of them are working with the financial support administration. I will not get into details, but there are four, if I remember correctly, 4 or 5 state support schemes for the installation of EV charging stations or solar panels, or upgrading of heating boilers in household and so on. So we are administrating these measures. And of course, we have 5 international projects and 5 national projects we are participating in. The main how to say areas of expertise of our agency is more or less divided in 8 themes. The first one being the analysis and data monitoring. We collect a lot of information about the energy sector, the generation, imports, exports, prices of electricity, gases, and so on. We work with energy innovation and energy security, which goes both hand in hand. There's a dedicated offshore wind project development center also in Lithuania, because we are developing our first offshore wind power plants in Lithuania right now. And we are responsible for the strategic oil reserve management here in Lithuania. The 3 most connected with the municipalities and the renewable energy action plans and energy efficiency overall are the centers for administration of energy projects, as I mentioned in the beginning. The Energy Efficiency Competence Center, which deals with everything concerning energy efficiency, energy audits, calculation of energy savings on the national level, and so on. And my division of climate change mitigation is responsible for the promotion of renewables and to some extent monitoring of energy system. So we here in agency are the ones or are the center who most directly, I can say most directly work with municipalities, because unlike the other agencies, we have very limited interactions with municipalities themselves, because we are not that closely involved in majority of projects which were mentioned. And because the municipalities here in Lithuania, they like to be very independent, to the detriment for themselves, because if they want to be very independent, the central government has very little, how to say, force or say in how they should develop their renewable energy action plans or other initiatives. So from our side, from our agency side, we try to give as much support and how to say encouragement for municipalities, in particularly this this area of developing and evaluating the local renewable energy sources development action plans. So our agency is directly responsible for monitoring, verification, and we try to aid as much as we can in for the municipalities in developing these action plans. To do so, we gather a lot of information which is required by the ministerial order, which sets out the framework of what has to be included in the renewable energy development action plans. there's a very concrete list of what has to be included, and every plan has to have these required parts. So in order to do so, we are gathering information about the electricity production, consumption in every municipalities. We are also preparing the recommendations for the renewable energy communities and citizens energy communities, because those communities are often created with municipalities' involvement for twofold reasons. One being to increase the share of renewables, of course, in the municipality, and the second one being the more important one is to reduce energy poverty of municipalities, and to reduce the number of people who are or who needs financial aid to pay their bills, for example. And of course, we provide information on the benefits of renewables to further disseminate the and spread the development of them. So how it is done in Lithuania, I just at the last minute included this map of Lithuania. We have 60 municipalities in Lithuania. They vary in size and, of course, in population. The biggest ones being the capital city Vilnius, the second major city Kaunas, and the third one port of Klaipėda in near the Baltic Sea. So these municipalities are biggest in the population metrics, but there are other criteria which are more important than population. And one of them being the ability of the administration of the municipality to prepare or allocate adequate resources for the development of plans, and of course afterwards the implementation of plans. And we from our initial assessment, we see that the biggest municipalities or richest municipalities are not always the ones who are doing best in this regard. So getting back to the our role as an energy agency in the municipal renewable energy sources action plan development and implementation. So first step, of course, is the municipality is required by law on energy to draft the action plan. There is, as I said, the ministerial order which sets the framework of how this plan has to look like, what it has to include. And then the municipalities submit their action plans for the review of the ministry. After the review, if there needs to be any changes done, municipality adopts the plan, implements the measures, and prepares the report of implementation results. At which step, on the last step, we come in as an oversight institution, and we monitor and assess the implementation results. So the first implementation reports should come up this year, late autumn, and we expect the first initial results to be quite varied, let's say, in the information and in the availability of results. We have done last year. We have done the interim assessment, initial assessment of the NEC, of the prepared RES plans. And the findings were not very great, I can say, because there were a lot of measures in all of those plans introduced, more than 1,100, but majority of them, 74%, had no measures, or I should say, had measures without targets or financing. So if the measure has no target, let's say what it has to achieve, or a financing which should enable to achieving these targets, we didn't even count this measure as a viable or feasible for the implementation. So we have looked at the all prepared and adopted action plans. 3 municipalities didn't have plans ready. It was mainly due to the administrative issues with tendering procedures and the quality of prepared plans. So they are in legal disputes right now, but majority, 57 out of 60 municipalities has their plans ready. And what's included in these plans were the main, main measures, how the municipalities are going to achieve their target of increasing renewable share in final energy consumption by 2030. Because as per the law on renewable energy, in each plan, there has to be a target of how much each municipality will increase the share of renewables in total energy consumption by 2030. So the main groups of measures are, of course, the renewable energy development in public sector and households, with leaders being the solar power, power panels, and initiatives in the household sectors. Transport sector is overall very important, but there are very limited measures to increase renewables or decrease the greenhouse gas emissions in transport sector. Energy efficiency sector is led also by the renovation of multi-apartment buildings, and district heating sector is not given as much of attention maybe as it requires, because the majority of measures are implemented without additional municipality involvement. That is to say that there are already measures which finance the the renovation of pipelines or the renovation of district heating utilities, and action plans should include only additional measures which are designed by the municipality and implemented by municipality. And from these results we see 3 major issues. First being one that almost 3 billion euros will be needed to implement all these measures by 2030. But this is an issue because municipalities included in their action plans measures which are already, adopted and subsidized by central government. So this is one of the issues we are dealing right now. How to evaluate the additionality or materiality of the measures and the involvement of the municipality itself in the implementation of these measures. Because if you do not invest your own money or your own time or effort into this measure, can it be said that it is your measure, and should you be allowed to calculate the energy savings resulting from this measure towards your target? Another problem is that majority of municipalities also included the air quotes measures in households, which municipality again has no say or impact on. These measures in households vary from again installing heat pumps, changing of boilers, installing solar power panels, insulating the walls, roofs, and so on. Those measures are financed from completely different financial sources, from European Union funds and from central government budgets. So again, these are not the measures that should be included in the municipal action plans. And of course, the third one being the renovation of multi-apartment buildings. In this case, in Lithuania, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Lithuania, municipalities has almost no say or no sway, or no weight behind the decision of a multi-apartment building owners association to renovate or not to renovate their building. So again, these numbers are very high, and they inflate the required financial, how to say, investments up to these 3 billion euros. But they are not the under responsibility of the municipalities themselves. So what we have learned from this initial assessment of the municipalities' renewable energy sources action plans are that measure descriptions are very vague. They are sometimes they are so non-specific that you cannot even guess at what the measure is going to do. For example, as I mentioned, the households, the majority of action plans of the municipalities just said that renewable energy improvements in household sectors, and that's it. And that some, I don't know, 1,000 or 2,000 or some amount or some number of the households will do something basically, and that will increase our share of renewables. So this is how to say, not acceptable in our mind. Of course, the targets, there are no targets in some cases. What is this measure trying to achieve? Or there is no performance indicators even to begin to think how this could be monitored or verified in the at the end of 2030. Financing, of course, was another issue because only about 21% of all measures had the financing sources next to them. Basically, we have no idea about other remaining measures, how they are going to be financed, or is it actual measure which has a financing right now, or is it just a plan meaning that it would be nice to have a measure of some of this kind. Of course, measure evaluation, very huge, how to say, struggles to include measure impacts, what should be or could be assessed or evaluated, and how those measures contribute to the share, to the increasing share of renewable energy. So if we don't have description, we don't have the targets of the measure, we don't have a financing, it is almost impossible to evaluate the measure's impact. And sorry. And of course, the role of municipality itself. As I said earlier, municipalities were very generous in the inclusion of almost any type of measures that they thought could be added or could have an impact on their targets, without thinking that basically they have no way of showing how or even if they did anything to basically to implement this measure. So our conclusions from our initial assessment of the action plans was that only about 1/5 of all measures were sufficiently described and detailed to evaluate them. Only about 1/5 of them had the funding or financial support schemes behind those measures. And many of the measures even do not depend on municipal actions for their implementation. So having that said, those measures which had the targets defined and the financing behind them, of course, they contribute to our national energy independence strategy goals and national energy and climate action plan goals. Talking about these plans, it is set in our laws that main national targets for energy, like renewable shares or energy savings, should be detailed in the strategy, and there are. Our NECP is an additional document which describes how our national energy independence strategy will be implemented, by which measures, and the municipality role in this is left only in, I think, mentioned in 2 or 3 passing lines, saying that municipalities, while they are developing their renewable energy source action plans, should take into account the national goals, but they are not, how to say, forced or required to achieve, to contribute directly to these targets set in the strategy and the NECP. So there is a disconnect between what the central government is trying to achieve with the targets and the roles of municipalities, how they could basically add to the achievement of those targets. And we have prepared the set of recommendations for the municipalities themselves, just to clarify and specify the measure descriptions, clarify information about financing needs, supplement the action plans with specific targets to be achieved, because majority of plans in the municipalities, they don't even have smaller, more achievable targets, except that big one to increase the share of renewable energy in final energy consumption. And we strongly suggest for municipalities to consider their powers and functions in the implementation of measures, because we have seen already from the report of the implementation status from one municipality, how they are not taking it quite enough seriously, the implementation of their plan, because their report was just 2 pages of half-empty tables with basically no information on them except the mark or the bird mark next to the title of the measure, and which says either it is implemented, half implemented, or not implemented. So municipalities do not take it quite as seriously as maybe we are, or the Lithuania does. And of course, we strongly advise municipalities to coordinate as soon as possible with our agency or the Ministry of Energy, the implementation reports and the, how to say, the content and format of those reports. So these renewable energy development action plans are the I think I won't be mistaking by saying that this is the strongest link our agency has with municipalities themselves, and how we communicate and how we work together in order to reach these climate and energy efficiency goals. There are additional slides, but I will just very briefly go through them. Our Energy Efficiency Competence Center, of course, has a lot in common with what was shown in previous presentation from Italy. The center is the highest authority in Lithuania on energy savings calculations, on energy audit monitoring and implementation. They are preparing methodological support documents for the implementation of energy efficiency measures. They also do the analysis and research activities in energy efficiency sector, and of course they implement projects. So this is another side of our agencies and how we can give how we can give support to municipalities if they lack the capacities to evaluate measures themselves, or basically just to come up with a list of possible measures to increase the energy efficiency. Why am I talking about energy efficiency in the context of renewable energy sources action plans? Because there is already coming a regulation from the European Commission for the municipalities, not only to have renewable energy action plans, but also energy efficiency action plans. And right now it is being discussed in Lithuania how those two could be or should be integrated into one more broad document rather than having two separate ones and possibly competing ones. And as I said, we have a project administration division here in agency. Right now there are 4 measures. One is for private charging points for electric vehicles, another is for solar power plants, yet another for biofuel and fossil fuel boiler upgrades, and the individual electricity storage capacity powered by renewable energy sources. So while administrating these measures, colleagues from this division, they go to municipalities and they consult municipalities again how to apply for this financial support, because municipalities they can be eligible to this to the support by themselves, or they can be eligible to the support if they have established a renewable energy community or citizens energy community. So either way, our colleagues from the administration division can give support on how to basically prepare the documents required and how to apply for the financial support. I think I will skip the offshore wind. Just maybe it's just interesting for someone. We are developing right now 2 offshore wind power plants, and because they are almost 30 kilometers from our shores, they are directly, impacting 3 coastal municipalities of Lithuania. So some financial gains from those 2 parks, which are being developed right now, will go directly to municipalities to basically implement societal and environmental or energy efficiency projects in those municipalities. And the Energy Security and Innovation Center, which has, to my knowledge, least of all connections with the municipalities themselves. So I won't go into much detail then. So sorry for the rush and for this disjointed presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Maybe one last thing, that I'm really glad that they had this opportunity to share what kind of energy agencies are we, because for me, it is very clear right now that we are completely different from one another and acting in completely different scales and fields. And so that's why it was very much needed to have this kind of discussion.
And it's helpful not only for the task force, but I think one question that before I pass on to other colleagues and we finish, one question that remained. I mean, you now said that it is expected that municipalities develop energy efficiency action plans as well to go together or in parallel with the renewable energy sources. Is there any connection with the Environment Ministry for adaptation issues, like the Covenant of Mayors has adaptation and mitigation? Is that something that you are looking into?
This is a difficult question for us here in Lithuania, because if I understood correctly from Italian slides, it was said that Ministry of Environment and Energy Security or
Energy
something like
Security, yes.
So in Lithuania, Ministry of Environment is separate thing altogether, and Ministry of Energy is another thing, and Ministry of communications, transport is also another thing.
Oh.
So all these questions, well, while we were preparing NECP, we worked very closely with each other, and we have evaluated measures and shared the results. And from our evaluations, the colleagues from the Ministry of Environment calculated the impact on the greenhouse gas emission reductions and so on. So right now there are no, how to say, requirement or plans to require this additional climate change mitigation, let's say, part to be included in municipal plans.
Yeah.
Energy efficiency, because it is, while not directly mentioned, it is already included,
Yes,
because of course, if you save, conserve energy, or substitute one energy form for another, you basically reduce GHG emissions and increase their share of RES. So that won't be an issue, or won't be a huge issue to my knowledge and expectations, of course. But yeah, the inventory, national GHG inventory, and all these other questions with greenhouse gas emissions are under another ministry and then another agency under that ministry. So,
yeah. And do in your experience, do cities, in fact, although it's not mandatory, are they doing this because of international collaboration? Are Vilnius maybe?
You know, it's very hard to say, because right now, this year, in year 2025, Vilnius and Tauragė, another regional center, are the green capitals, or try to be green capitals of Lithuania. And
Vilnius has it.
Yeah, for this year, they will do something extra, and the next, okay, they already have their badge, they can basically relax. But it is, well, there are several regional cooperations, again, in the Tauragė region, where the smaller municipalities, they clump together in the, how to say, in their own group, and they try to do something else, like integrated public transport systems and so on. So there are local initiatives, but they are very few and far in between. So,
okay, thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes, sorry. I don't know if I lost some passages, but I didn't understand how the if you have SECAP, how they are linked with these two plans, the RES and the next future energy plan.
Yeah, SECAP, if I understand correctly, is Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan.
And climate action.
Yeah.
It's
so
the one in the Covenant of
Lithuania,
Mayors.
yeah, there are no different SECAPs. It's just one national energy and climate action plan.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the Covenant of Mayors is not...
Covenant of Mayors is not a thing in Lithuania. Unfortunately, it started, but then very soon died. It is not anything worth mentioning when we are talking about Lithuanian case. But there is this one central national energy and climate action plan, and the separate ones prepared by municipalities should contribute to. Yeah. But well, it is the political language. If I can,
it's not defined.
It doesn't mean I must, and they don't get any additional financing for that. So they want to be very independent up to the point when they need money, then they don't want to be that independent anymore. So
maybe you should use the experience with the Vilnius and Green Capital, because now they have a full plan with adaptation, mitigation. Maybe they can help out with promoting others, getting others to be on board with this.
Yeah, the strange thing is that in their action plan, they didn't include anything about their plans being the green capital for Lithuania. One problem in Lithuania is that municipalities, they don't have any resources to prepare these plans themselves.
Yeah.
And they buy the external assistance from the from energy, let's say,
consultants then.
Yeah, energy consultants. And when we were browsing for all these prepared plans, we noticed that there are, if I remember correctly, Alina, just tell me if I'm wrong, but 6 or 7 types of plans which are basically then copy and pasted, because we see the formatting, the language, the structure, everything the same.
And sometimes the name of the municipality remain in another plan. This happens also.
Yes,
Don't worry.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's why when we were looking at them, we noticed that even municipalities themselves haven't read them, because the plan suggests 3 scenarios, for example. Scenario A, B, C, and then we are trying to evaluate or get the information. Okay, so your municipality, which scenario did you choose? No one can say anything. So it's very well. It's first time for them. With our supervision, maybe they will get better. But well,
okay.
If I can make a comment on that, this is something very, also in Italy, we have this problem for SECAP, especially in particular. Probably the application of energy efficiency first principle could overcome this problem of non-measurable indicators, no targets, and so on. But it should be mandatory. So
sorry, Francesca, but I must admit I'm very happy to hear that, because from your presentation and from Sofia's presentation also, I got the impression that everything is so fine in your countries, and we are so lagging back.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Think about it this way. You can at least try to avoid some of the mistakes that we made, because it's still ongoing. It's a process, and we still have many municipalities that also they spend maybe 10,000 or 15,000 euros on a plan that they hire someone and they don't read it, they don't apply it. Sometimes it's a copy and paste. It also happens. It's exactly the same. No, don't worry. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Just a finally let you know that this is the final calendar for the task force. I will share this with you, but I've sent you all this in an email. But we have the dates set, and also the participants more or less set. Currently, the agencies are telling me which date they prefer, so that we arrange. We will never have 6 agencies in one day, for example, maximum 4, but we are adjusting according to the possibilities of each, and also some agencies might not to be able to present, of course. And in September we'll meet with external partners and other European initiatives or other organizations that can partner with us. And the culmination will be in October for the discussion on the thinking group meeting on how we can better collaborate, and then final discussion and approval of the conclusions in November and December, so that in February next year we can present to the regular members on the ENR meeting to decide how to move forward, either with joint project applications, collaboration in developing tools, something like that. But we will discuss this throughout the year and to come up with a decision that can be discussed in February next year. So thank you again, and see you June 11th.
June.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Thanks.